the power of the mastermind and how cool that is, how we don't have to do this alone. In fact, how we shouldn't do it alone. So I can't wait to hear what you guys took out of this section and what you're going to share with the rest of the room for your own perspectives. Now, I have a lot of mics hot from the pre-chatter, and I'm going to call them if they stay hot. So, Miss Celeste, you are first up.
I'm bragging because I did it.
Nice.
I did it. I just thought I'd share that because I saw all these other sessions where everyone had their commitments and I didn't. So I finally did it.
Excellent. And what about specifically out of the mastermind section?
I will defer to someone else.
Well, then how about you defer to Doug because his mic was hot.
Okay. This says that information comes from 3 different places: infinite intelligence, accumulated experience, and experiment and research. And then underneath that, it says knowledge is converted into power by organizing it into definite plans and expressing those plans in terms of action. So the end goal of knowledge is action. Then it says that examination of these 3 major sources of knowledge will readily disclose the difficulty an individual would have if he depended on his efforts alone. He must induce others to cooperate with him before he can inject them into the necessary element of power. So even though the end goal is action, the real end goal is power. And you have to have help. You can't do that on your own. So that was pretty powerful, I thought.
Well, I like this whole conversation on power right out of the beginning of the chapter. It opens up. Power is essential for success in the accumulation of money. And plans are inert and useless without sufficient power to translate them into action. So this whole mastermind piece is about multiplying your power, expanding that power. So many of us, again, as we talked before, are attempting to do all this stuff on their own rather than consistently reaching out to others to mastermind, to share, to collaborate, and to get even more power going. So Carrie, I see your mic is hot. What do you have?
Okay, so what I really liked about part of this chapter was that it was when it was talking about Gandhi and being a leader and how simple like he was in his dress and everything, and he didn't what he had to say was powerful, but he was basically a silent leader, and he had millions of people, following him. So I thought that I liked that. And I thought that, and I'm not sure because I listened to it last night and I listened to apparently more than one, but the visual of of batteries working together, like 2 or 3 batteries working together and 2 or 3 brains working together. And that analogy was pretty cool. Those are the things I had.
Well, I love the Gandhi analogy because, just like as we read in an earlier chapter, the United States had a mastermind of 56 men with a definitive purpose who, through the power of their decisiveness, as well as their mastermind, beat the largest superpower on the planet militarily. They made a decision, they went after it, and militarily they spanked them. And then we get to Gandhi, who, with himself and 200 million other people of India, whooped the #1 power on the planet without firing a single bullet or raising a single sword. Did it through peace. talk about the power of the mastermind. What else do you guys have?
I don't know. I just got this, Russ. There were 56 men that stood together for the signing of the Declaration of Independence. Andrew Carnegie had 50 men that he worked with to build United States Steel. That was his mastermind. And one of the people that helped mentor me. He determined years ago when he first started his ministry that he needed at least 50 people to help him. And he built a ministry that was well over 20,000 people in the 1970s. This group of 50 is interesting. It's the first time I've noticed that. Keeps showing up.
It's a huge aha, and I just wrote it down because of your epiphany that if I had 50 folks in my world that were willing to collaborate alongside me and show up and plug in and stay in conversation, man, how much different my life would be. I got to go find those 50, don't I, Doug? All right, what else you guys have?
I
So
just,
I think the number.
Hold on,
might-
Celeste beat you to the words, and client, you're next.
sorry, client. I took away from this that in order to have power, you do have to have a leader. And even if it's that the leader is the face of the power behind it. And when I think about all these examples, and I'm using this one as we're living a current example of someone is showing up as a leader, but he is also not taking this on as if he has to do it all. He's got a cabinet that he's pulling together of people he believes will be strong in whatever lane he's giving. He's putting them in the right place. As they say, get the people on the bus in the right seats. And there is a lot to be said for, I can see where someone might say, well, they have opposition to their decision. That person's not the person that they want to see on that seat. But a leader just has to make decisions and go forward. And they will be vetted, whether or not they want to say that they will be or not. Everybody will be vetted. If you are not committing to doing what you have been told or assigned to do, you will be replaced.
And man, this has got me thinking so big in my own world, Celeste, because, I've got part of my 50 I've already kind of been playing with and putting together, and I was thinking too small. 50, as Doug put this together out of the content, is really maybe where, yes, I may have my 9 I focus on, yet a 50 mastermind that meets on a regular basis that are all working towards the same goals could be pretty freaking amazing. And you guys are showing up here, many of you that are in my unique little corner of the world. So how much fun could we have? Boy, you got me thinking. I appreciate you guys today. Client, what do you got, brother?
Well, I may have to retract my statement that I was going to make, because my statement, I was just going to say, in accordance to the master had 12. So I was going to say we may not need 50, but that could be debated here nor there. But with 12, you can change the world as well. I think at the end of the day, the big thing is this: if you have people with you, you can do great things. I think it's a little less in the numbers. There may be or may not be something to that, but it basically moving forward with others gets leverage.
So I want to maybe challenge the story slightly, client, which might help, because I think these aren't dichomatic of 12 versus 50. We got 12 tight, close, an intimate circle, and yet a mastermind of 50. And I would challenge you that as the master was going out speaking, I bet there were 38 others that always showed up.
He
They
did send
were
out a
there-
group
they
of
were there.
70 at one time.
Yeah. So have your true tight group, which I'm right now running on a 9 number on that piece that meets some very specific criteria, and yet bringing this out to a bigger, I mean, wow. I'm loving every bit of this, client. Thank you. All right, who else from the content? I know you guys don't want to talk today because you're saving it for tomorrow. I know what's on your guys' mind. Julianne, what do you have?
Well, I don't know what tomorrow is.
Oh, just wait till we talk it at the end of it today.
Oh
What do you
my,
got, Julianne?
I'm excited. Okay.
Me too. It should be interesting conversation.
So, one of the things that really stood out to me was I love the way he always refers to infinite intelligence. And this is the first time I have recalled him really saying, this is not a course on religion, because he was really trying super hard to not make it a book about his spiritual beliefs, even though that is a fundamental foundation towards what all these great men did. They believed in a higher power. Now, they were mostly the same religion. I don't know for sure if there was people of different religions, but he really does not want this to be a book about religion, but it is based on faith, and it is believing in the power of a higher source. And I love that he paints us a picture about a river. So the river, let's see, where is it? Because we talk about energy and energy flows. And so he says here in the book, there exists a great unseen stream of power, which may be compared to a river, except that one side flows in one direction, carrying all who are on that side on the stream onwards and upwards towards wealth. The other side flows in the opposite direction, carrying all who are unfortunate enough to get into it, into a downward to the misery and poverty. The power of this stream that the author is talking about, people can actually, I envision being more like the, because we're talking about, I'm like, why did he put that in the mastermind section? And I really feel like he puts this in the mastermind section because the water is, the river is very wide. I'm thinking stream, but think about a really wide river, and you can choose which side you get on. And then you get totally surrounded by the movement of that water. And that power of the water is very powerful. It can create energy. I mean, we're talking, the currents are powerful. And so what you surround yourself with is what's going to carry you. And it's kind of, if you start drifting, as we all do, everybody drifts. If you think about the power of the mastermind in this powerful, the stream of life, if you're all holding hands, you can go as deep into that water as you need to be. And if you start drifting, somebody can grab your hand and pull you back, right? And if you do get caught in the downward current, there's more people down there too, and they can help you get back into going the direction that you care to. So he mentions the Wall Street crash of 29, and how many of the people who were wealthy got dragged over into the rich side, and many of them actually ended up breaking. They got broken because they didn't have the mastermind. They didn't have the chain of people there to carry them back and help them build again. So there.
And let's hit this energy piece a little bit more, because this is, he calls the psychic phase of the mastermind. And instead of, a God, let's just talk energy. Because we know from quantum physics, there are strings of energy everywhere. The universe is made up of energy. You are 6 trillion molecules, atoms, 6 trillion atoms in the human body. And how much energy is in one atom? Just ask Hiroshima. Think about how much energy you have and how much is floating out there. And he says, no two minds ever come together without thereby creating a third invisible, intangible force, which may be likened to a third mind. You literally are adding a 50% just by collaborating. And you add a third person, and you're actually growing it exponentially. The energy in those rooms can be absolutely electric when you are having those masterminds. So, Carrie, I saw you, and then Jeanette, you're next. Okay, then just say, Jeanette, you're next.
It's me. Okay. Julianne, I was looking at the same positive. So this section that you were just reading from is called The Power of Positive Emotions. So nobody gets to tell us what emotions we have. We get to choose that. And that's our or going back and forth from one to the other when it talks about it just every man who's accumulated a great fortune has recognized the existence of this stream of life. It consists of one's thinking process. Our thinking process. What are we here for? Mastermind, for building our mindset, finding out where we've got the poverty mindset, and so that we can release it. Because a lot of us who've been here haven't even known that we've had it. We haven't known where we've had it. And when you start talking the power of the mastermind, poverty and riches often change places when riches take the place of poverty. This change is usually brought about through well-conceived and carefully executed plans. Poverty needs no plan. No one aids it. It just takes its place. And as you talk about the power of these amazing storms and things, yesterday I got caught up in watching a few minutes of storms, and something like a tsunami, you get a little bit of warning on, but many of the ones that I've watched were mudslides or like a dam breaking or something like that, and you didn't know they were coming. I mean, the earth knew they were coming, but they didn't know they were coming, and there was not a stopping of them. Well, this is what it's talking about, is the power of the mastermind as it's moving forward. So we get to build together, and we are building a mastermind. Every one of us is having a place where we're changing. We're changing something in the earth, because it can't stay the same when we change around us. It can't stay the same when we make our new thoughts, when we bring our new things into life. And then it's amazing what opportunities come to us when we open ourselves to a new opportunity and a mindset. There's nothing that can stop us from continuing to grow, and things can't stay the same. Relationships can't stay the same, and they don't need to be negative.
Yeah,
we're learning what to say. Exactly what to say.
They're just different. One of our key little components of this, our little nuggets that we share, are rules of success. Change your thinking, change your world. The energy of you just changing your thinking and deciding to see the world different, it's a decision, can magically alter your universe. And you have no idea how the changing your thinking over here affects what's going on over there. And yet magically, somehow, it always does. What else you guys have from the content?
It says here, it was talking about the poverty mindset. Says on page 201, if you are in the side of the stream of power that leads to poverty, this may serve as an oar by which you may propel yourself over into the other side of the stream. It can serve you only through application and use, merely reading and passing judgment on it. Either one way or another, it will no way benefit you. I think that's interesting. It's an interesting way to, think of that. Like, I'm sure that most people that are in the poverty level aren't thinking that it's a way to get somewhere. They're thinking of it in a more of a victim mindset, or that's just the way it's always been, or whatever you want to call it. But that's pretty interesting, I think. Worth talking about, maybe.
Oh, absolutely.
Can I
Again,
say something?
of course, bring it, Celeste.
Well, I just highlighted the paragraph that you just talked about. I was highlighting while you were talking. And then it occurred to me that one simple pair of words that really made an impact on me is this idea of, your thoughts are leading you either in a positive direction or a negative direction. But the two words in this paragraph were merely reading and passing judgment on it, either one way or another, will in no way benefit you. And that leads us to, we can be in here, I'm using this as my own example, and we could be participating, but what are you doing to put this into action? And this thing that we had to do back in chapter 2, which was to identify our goals of what do we want out of our businesses, and then chant that to ourselves twice a day, once in the morning, once at night. The power of the one at night is that your brain is listening to what you say. And if you're not speaking in a positive mindset of saying, I am, I will do, I am doing, that whole mindset, the mantra, then none of this matters.
Yeah, we got to take action. So, guys, most of you in this room, a big part of your success comes down to having conversations. And so remember, again, in the afternoons, right back here, 2 to 5 o'clock every single day, we have 3 power hours that you're supposed to have your cameras on. So we're holding each other accountable to actually doing the work. And so I may turn mine around when I'm doing it so you guys can see me when I'm there doing the work, because I walk and talk at the same time. And yet being there, again, it's a mastermind. We're watching each other work. At the top of each hour, we can have a quick conversation about successes and failures and get feedback from each other to get better. That happened yesterday for me in the accelerator room, where there's one particular conversation I've been having that hasn't been going right. And I got a great nugget from Nicole, and I'm now adjusting that language slightly. I know you guys are going to struggle with this. My approach just happened to be a little too direct. Go figure. Julianne, what do you got?
The other 2 sources from which the knowledge necessary for the accumulation of power may be obtained are no more reliable than the 5 senses of man. The senses are not always reliable. Infinite intelligence does not err. That's mindset right there. And that's when we say that, the spirit talks to us. And when we do self-talk in our head, when we have that negative self, if we're listening to all the chatter in our head, all the negative, our senses, it's like, oh, that might be dangerous, or I tried that once and it didn't work. The way we self-talk ourselves out of doing stuff versus when we listen to the chatter, or we actually talk to ourselves and breathe life and confidence into us, that is that is what I got out of that paragraph there. And it's like, our senses are not always reliable because they're relying on our brain to translate everything. But if you're listening to your heart and you're listening to God and you're listening to that instinct, that intuition, that is where you will not err.
Awesome. And so one thing I definitely don't want to err on is setting up tomorrow, because I know some of you guys maybe have been struggling to get the reading done.
It seems to me like
Yeah, bringing on a little Barry White for this conversation.
Yeah.
Man, tomorrow,
I bet y'all gonna read. I bet y'all gonna read today, though. I bet y'all
tomorrow's
gonna read today.
conversation, when you read the content, is all about sex, baby. Chapter 11. So I know you're all going to read it, maybe twice. I can't wait to hear the conversations tomorrow. Imagine 1937, a book written that includes this piece of the content. Going to be a lot of fun. Get it read, have it ready to go, and we'll be prepared for tomorrow.